welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. I'm a Hilka empath. I just like doing these little talks how I feel about things. What's a Hilka empath? Well, it's a lot of things. I've done videos, Hilka, on what a Hilka empath is. As far as I can tell, or all of these are my interpretations of how I take in data. I collect data and I report it on to other folks. It's an interesting day. It's a big, do you remember when? You know, I remember the first do you remember when is when I was 11, the space shuttle Challenger erupted and we all were watching it in class. Blew up. We just kind of looked at Mr. Euler, our teacher at Flamston, and went, are they alright? And he just kind of, I mean, what do? You turn it off, be like, it's our heads, you know what I mean? What do you do with that, you know? And there's another one, September 11th is a big one. I was at Offutt Air Force Base, and it was a busy day. I didn't even know the towers fell till 10 o'clock that night. My friends in California told me, and I'd called them. I was like, yeah, it's crazy what's going on. But I knew, see, okay, let me put it like this. I don't know, there's a power grid on the planet, right? Right, it's this power grid that we plug our utilities into and we charge from there, right? Well, what people don't recognize is that we have our own power grids within each and every one of us. We are a power grid too. We are an autonomous power source. We have our own battery, our heart, our brain, processor. We're just human computers with flesh instead of wires, and what happens is where you sit on that power grid, you know, you are, if you, like me, I'm an empath, Heyoka empath, and I absorb the energy sum of all the collective of where I'm at. We all do it. I'm just more sensitive to it. And so I'm stationed at the 45th parallel in Salem, Oregon. Oddly, I was always wanted to live here since I was a little girl. And then once my wish came true, it was a definite instance of be careful what you wish for. And it's been very uncomfortable ever since. So, a lot of stuff, there's a lot of history in Oregon, and they've always kind of just kept quiet, but the reality of it is it's a quite corrupt state, and they they do a lot of stuff. Politicians waste a lot of money, do a lot of stuff in secrecy, and that's what's happening with all this polarization. Is all this secrecy is coming out. It has to happen, and you know, we had a chance to do it. You know, people have a chance to do the right thing of them by themselves, and you know, I know that there's wrongs that I've done to people, and I've had to go and make right, and you know, this is how I used to act, and I don't act that way anymore, and what can I do to make it right? And you do that you do that and it's uncomfortable enough, and you do it enough times, it kind of guides and directs your behavior in a more of a high vibrational flow. You know, and everybody has a chance to do it, but not everybody takes it. And so now we have the world that we live in, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anywhere you look, there's no logic to it. There's no rhyme or reason, and with even in your universal law, it's rhyme and reason. Even scientists and spiritualists can agree that the opposite, and or what is it? You know, karma is the same as the physical principle. Is, you know, the same kind of energy you put out comes back. You know. It's all these people are trying to get at the same things using their own ego and all that to determine how things are. I do it too. It's, you know, it's a human thing. You know, we're just, our spirits are flowing around in our you know, our during our wake hours, they're anchored in our soul sac, our bodies, and you know, we spend most of our time ignoring our spirit, ourselves, our conscience, and you know, when you do that, it causes dissonance, and then when people feel that dissonance, how they go about what they do is they drink alcohol, they eat food, whatever, junk food, whatever food makes them feel better, take a bunch of pills to alter their thinking, and okay, well, if I take these pills, then I just won't think about anything, and that's just better, and that's no way to live, because our spirits are yearning to have experiences, and then, but they're not having the right kind, because all these egos are just like, what? Because we live on a planet where most of the people don't know how to soothe themselves. They don't know how to calm themselves down, and people like me who've been under freaking traumatic experience after traumatic experience, you think everybody lives like this, and you find out that they don't, and then it's just like, well, I went through all these things, and I'm a little bit more nervous than I used to be, a little more skittish than I used to be, but, all in all, I'm okay, and, these people have all this stuff, and they're not. What's that about? And then I think about it all the time, and what I focus on. I focus on positive things. I focus on, loving my family and taking care of my family. I focus on doing the next right thing, and I don't always do that. I don't. I get triggered too, I don't think I'm ever going to get to a point where I'm not. That's the goal, but it's just every day, one day at a time, And then there's plenty of days that I freaking am not cantankerous or, freaking flipping off city employees or whatnot. Speaking of yesterday, what's funny is that the police have been in my house 2 times. Well, they've been in my house more than that, but it was like, I called them because the road was going to flood out yesterday. I got video footage of the road that was going to, that was going to flood out, and I called the authorities, let them know that they need to, put up signs because people go tearing down that road, and they're going to hydroplane and whatnot and whatever, but nobody ever came, to my knowledge. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The polarization that's happening is that people, their spirits, have an idea of what they wanted to do, and then they look at their lives and they're like, they're not doing this, and there's so much division that it creates pressure, kind of. It creates like a angst, That's why all these people are like, why am I doing this? I hate the life I'm living. I'm not even doing what I want to do, and all this stuff, and they're not being real kind to themselves, first of all, and then they're not taking that out and not being kind to others, and with, like attracts like, you just freaking take any snarky, freaking jerky attitude out in the world, and you're going to be met with it, Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm just as capable of acting like that too, and I can, I'm not even. It don't matter if I only yell at people that cut in front of people, I'm still yelling at people, you know what I mean? I'm still not letting stuff slide. But those days are few. I'll tell you what, when I was in the Air Force, though, it was about every couple of weeks I was getting a talking to, Marge, can't talk to people like that. Marge, I'm just like, you don't understand how people have always talked to me however they felt like it. So, when people do that, I just, I'm not being a jerk. I'm just like, where are the boundaries when you've never had any? And it's taken me 45 years, to learn my own boundaries. But the thing is back to that electrical field, and people that are sensitive like me, is that emotions are a vibration. Every emotion attached to a vibration. And, fear is at a vibration, but you turn that up about tenfold, you got terror, Now, how many people experience terror in life? More and more people in this day and age are experiencing terror, because every time you turn around, somebody's in a public place shooting people up, and so there's more, there's more natural disasters, there's more reasons to be terrified, right? So more people are feeling that vibration, and when you feel it, when terror, fear, it's just like that high vibration of love. It's like the opposite. Well, actually, it's like the negative polarized opposite. To me, the way I look at it is terror is like the opposite of love, but it's still high vibrational, and it still puts you in a state, but sometimes traumatic things happen to so many people that when events happen, that it takes a minute to realize, like birthday party, like, is this a good surprise or a bad surprise? You know what I mean? But more and more people have been, and once you're in that elevated state, it makes you more cautious. It makes you, You know, like say when you're young, you you were standing there and like the kids were clowning around and somebody got on their knees and arms and knees behind you, and your buddy came up and like pushed you and you fell over backward against the person. You know, from then on you're going to be a little bit more, you know, since it happened once, you might be a little bit more cautious to, you know, be mindful of who's behind you, that kind of thing. And so the world is becoming more heightened in sensitivity, and people need to learn how to create a new dialogue with what that's like, because they're not talking about it, and so they're stuffing a lot of this stuff, and it's coming out sideways on the whole planet. You know, it's coming out sideways. But I am seeing things like, you know, there's this chick that worked for the governor's office here in Oregon. She quit her job this yesterday or today. She's just like, no, we need transparency in Oregon because even they know how much corruption goes on here. But it's all, you know, in the best interest of the public not to know, and it's all that stuff is like, no, it's the public's right to know. You shouldn't be doing anything without the public knowing it, because you're doing it for the public. And the government got this idea where they're like separate from the people that they're supposed to be supporting. You're supposed to be supporting the people. The people aren't supposed to be supporting millionaires. So, you know, these are some things that haven't changed in the last 18 years, and we've been given opportunities to change these things, you know. Maybe they made a mistake of showing too many controlled demolitions on PBS when I was growing up, you know. So I know what they look like. So as soon as I saw 9/11, I knew it. That isn't just and there's, you know, whatever you're into. But most people aren't into, you know, the world getting better. They care more about their, I think, about their making their creature comforts comfortable and keeping all the bad stuff out. I think but once, if that were to tilt, if that were to change and people started caring more about people than money, then we would see the evidence that in a more gracious world. But until then, that's the world we get. So hope you all have a rad day. Peace.